delay. Had to kick it back 15 minutes because I had some trouble with the internet, and then as I noticed that, I had trouble with a hang off the back filter. That you know how they have the little thing on the bottom that controls the angle of it? Well, that little shim had, man, my beard looks insane right now. My wife had me use this new shampoo and conditioner, and it's so red. Oh my goodness, I'm becoming a ginger. In any case, so the little shim thing fell off the bottom, so the tilt on it was lower than the tank rim, and so it was slowly dripping onto the carpet for the last 5 hours, probably since I was working in there last. So had to clean that up real quick. So sorry about the delay, guys. But yes, I am here now, and I won't go back. I won't waste the time to see everything going on. We're just moving forward. But how is everybody doing? Battle Brew, what's going on? Josh, Muppet, Fake Name, Thomas, Peter, Greg the Guppy, John McKenzie. Good to see everyone. Isabel, hello. Good to see you. So good to see you all. And then let's see here. So if you guys have any questions, we can always start with that. Let's see here. Let me get this oriented. So if you have any questions, we can always start with that. But today I kind of wanted to talk about what we're going to, or what what I'm going to be doing with my 40 gallon that I bought, as well as the 55 that I purchased, and kind of see what you guys want to see on the channel, because I've kept a lot of fish over the years, and I have friends with big tanks. But I consider that kind of a mid-sized tank, and I tend to like smaller nano tanks and their inhabitants, unless it's a big show tank, and then I like to have a lot of nano fish. Like a few hundred in a 50 or up to 120 gallon. That's kind of my ultimate dream, is to get like a 120 or a 180 and have a lake inlay biotope. And ideally, I mean, I could even do it as a pond. I'd love to have, Sabua splendens, the little orange rummy nose rasboras, and also like a, maybe celestial pearls, erythromicrons, some pandagaras, some rufagaras, some of the loaches, the Burmese border loach, multi-striped loach, and the opal gourami, croaking gourami, sparkling gourami, like all those, but in a tank that basically would have, like maybe some islands in it, like kind of like a terrarium. But that's a farther off goal. Oh, we've already got a super chat, and I have done nothing of any use for you guys. But thank you so much, Alan. I appreciate it for moving expenses. He says, I have some plants I need to send Alan. He actually, that plant that I cherish downstairs, the Logonandrome boldi silver plant that I just absolutely love, that has been to hell and back. I've cut it all the way down to this size where there's just a few pieces left, and it's grown back 3 inches long and then cut in half, and half died, half lived, so, but finally, hopefully it's ready to split again, and I can send that back to Alan, because him and I both bought different Logonandra strains that we wanted, and for sure, Alan, I have the red and the pink German strains that I got. Those have split again too, so I've definitely got those ready. Basically, I just tortured them accidentally. I mean, I didn't mean for them to have a terrible existence, but I put them in the new tank with the little golden cichlids, and the golden-eyed cichlids kept digging them up, and so they dig it up and they chew on the actual like stem of it for some reason, and everywhere they've chewed, it's basically starting a new split and new root runners. So I guess they did me a favor, I suppose. But I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to die. I mean, it was down to one leaf that had diatom algae all over it, and then within a week's time, it already started shooting out leaves again. But yeah, so I know you're moving too, Alan, and setting up a nice fish room. Um, you know, we just got the word that we can close early actually on our house. So we were told we could move as soon as the 12th of February. But here we are with boxes still and nothing's ready really. So we're probably holding that off a little while. The other thing I'm working on right now is a couple things I wanted to let you guys know about before we jump in to the meat and potatoes of everything. Hello, Amy. How's it going? Thanks for the reminder. Hit that thumbs up if you're enjoying the chat today, or if you plan to enjoy it. But basically, um, so, a couple things. First thing is that at Aquatic Arts, who I always work with, um, they have a new social media director that's handling all their Instagram and Facebook and newsletters and promotional stuff. I think a lot of that. And I'll still be working with Preston, their retail and I guess animal ordering planning kind of guy. So hopefully, if you guys have requests of you'd like to see Aquatic Art carrying X, Y, or Z, you can always let me know and I can pass it on when I meet with them every week or two. And I'll be meeting with her for the first time over the phone, like Skype or whatever, or Zoom, in a few days, I think. And we've emailed back and forth, but she's gonna be changing all the codes probably. So the discount codes, we're probably gonna reset them, and perhaps maybe even so everybody gets a redo of the 15 and the 10 thing. So we'll see. We haven't talked about it yet. I shouldn't make promises, but if we're resetting everything, it might be that first time you can use the 15% off, second time you can use the 10% off kind of thing. But the problem is that browser extensions like Honey and Retail Me Not and Groupon and or not Groupon, but like Coupon something or Coupon Saver or something like that. There's a few of these apps and browsers that are skimming the info and then putting it out, and then it looks like I've told more people than have actually seen it on my channel, and that's not fair to them. Plus, I like to help you guys out in the community that have a voice and some skin in the game, so to speak, so that you get the reward, you guys get the prizes. I don't want to be drawing prizes out of the prize pool for people who just had a browser fill it in, compared to those of you who have been so kind to have checked Aquatic Arts out, decided if you liked them, and a lot of you I know are faithful customers of theirs as well. There's only a handful of shops that I work with, and yeah. Oh, you use the secret history code. Yeah, yeah. So there used to be one that was secret shrimp, and that one is the one I think Honey found and was using like auto filling. So like instead we're having to sort through this month, figure that out, and figure out like how much we can put towards giveaway from that, because I like to give away 4% of whatever y'all spend. So it kind of was a hiccup, but hopefully we'll figure something out and get some new codes listed, and I'll make that very public. I'll probably be the name of the video and right in the beginning, and yada yada. But just so you know, Aquatic Arts will be getting more stuff into, as they always are, but they'll be getting more fish and plants in, and I'll be renaming or re-uploading new codes soon. The other thing, I was approached by actually quite a few. I don't know if I passed a threshold or what the deal is, but we have over 20 million minutes watched on this channel of content now, and I really, really want to thank you guys for that. So, thanks for tuning in, for hanging out, for letting it play in the background on autoplay. I don't care. No, I would prefer that you guys enjoy it, whatever. But Thank you. Really, honestly, it's amazing how the channel's grown, and it's grown at a nice steady clip, and I feel like um, so far it's been pretty manageable. So I still feel very close to a lot of you that I've been close with for a long time. Dan, I have seen your 55, by the way. It's a beautiful tank. I love what you've done with it. I mean, it would also really be cool to do like an Indonesian hill stream tank with like there's I think about 14 Stiphodon Goby species, and then there's like lots of little teeny kind of they're not rainbow fish, but there's like Javanese rice fish, for instance, and just like these little top minnow type fish that could be a fun tank to do, like a high flow tank too. But yeah, hey Jack, welcome, good to see you. Karma A, good to see you, and you guys are saying you guys all checked out Aquatic Arts recently and got some stuff. Well, that's good. I think we're still hoping that they can get their shipping prices down a bit, but it's been tough with reliability lately other places, and they seem to do it pretty well. Like I don't have late orders from them ever. I don't have dead things from them hardly ever. So whereas I've had things take 2 weeks from other people that were supposed to take 3 days. So all these people have come to me though lately, like Arizona Gardens and Select Aquatics and things like that. Which Select Aquatics I don't mind as much, but Arizona Gardens I would never represent. I'm just gonna throw that out there. They need to fix a lot of things before I would ever do that. Let's see here. Glassbox Fox says, hope they keep using codes. I bought $200 of the 20% off gift cards hearing it from you, ordering in spring. Yeah, definitely. I will definitely, if my code doesn't work, the one that's in the description right now today, I'll get you one that does. Like just or email them and let them know what's up. They know that there's an issue, so they'll either pass it on to her name's Ashley, the gal in charge, or Preston, who's now the manager of the kind of facility, the retail and warehouse manager below the owner kind of thing. So yeah, but that is kind of some of the logistical news. Drew Sample, Average Fish Keeper, what's up? Chubby Guppy, Amelise85, hello. Looks like you woke up in time. That's right, you did. Jen Yu, Chevy Fish, hello. Good to see everybody. So, Von Lurker, hello. Also, welcome to y'all. I wish this chat would. I'm having to scroll, and usually it keeps up. But, I'm thinking about, I haven't done it in 15 years, but I'm thinking about in the 55 that we're setting up in the new house, I'm thinking about setting up a Tanganyika tank. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Lake Tanganyika, I really love Tropheus. They're really pretty. The other thing I've been thinking about, I mean, might even want a bigger tank than that, but I've also thought about it would be fun to do a Central American tank. It's like some Honduran cichlids and things. Guatemalan, Nicaraguan. But here, I'll just turn this around real quick so you can see what I've been obsessing over. Genu, hello. So let's see here. Let's get this situated so this makes a little bit of sense the way I can have this going. All right. So, come on. All right. So this is just a small taste of some of them on Lake Tanganyika. This is one shoreline here, If you follow it around, you can see there's the full rainbow of fish. Hey Chubbs, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you. I gotta buy some top minnows from you, brother. Especially when I get to my new place. The other thing that I'm working on, and hopefully I'll have it out Thursday, hopefully I'll have it finished tomorrow, is talking about native nano fish. And I'm going to extend nano fish, like more like to mean small. I'll probably use nano because that's the word that maybe is more common rather than like, what are small fish I can keep? But I think it'll be anything under 2.5 inches, like max 2.5 inches. And a lot of times with something 2.5 inches, you get more like the females are 1.5 and the males are 2, but in theory they can get to 2.5, that kind of thing. But I mean, just to show you guys, I don't know if a lot of you know Tropheus, and a lot of these are expensive slash extinct in the wild, but there are just some beautiful Tropheus fish. There really are. And they do need special parameters, harder, more alkaline water, and things like that. Yeah, oh, I know, Chubbs. Yeah, the golden top minnows do get bigger, for sure. I'm talking more about like Eliosomas and least killifish. But there's some colorful darters and things too. So I think I'm going to do top 10 native nano fish, that are colorful and that you can keep, in theory, at a low temperature. That's the video I would like to make. Right now I'm deciding on how to make it. I think I'm getting to the point on this channel where I want to reference a lot more stuff than is handy. So like I don't have B-roll of, hey, Fish Tropic Encore. I don't have B-roll of X, Y, or Z fish if we're talking about fish I don't have in a video. And I might be getting to the stage where we need to do some editing and actual, some actual, what's the word? I guess, yeah, just editing of content rather than video of what I have in my house. And I've started this thing as kind of a vlog, I suppose, and kind of just a friendly chat and lecture, almost as if you were in a classroom or just hanging out as friends, a mix of something in between the two. But I do feel like in the next year, hopefully someone with some editing skills, I'd love to team up with someone and work on a little bit more of out there projects with graphics and illustrations of mine and stuff like that. I did an anatomy video with some illustrations and things. It was kind of a lot more. It's funny, like I never know. I ask folks, what would you like, and they say, well, we want X, Y, or Z. We want better graphics or more more editing, background music, things like that. And then I do those things, or and those videos get the worst traction compared to a video where I'm just sitting and talking to y'all. So I mean, I think at the bottom line, content's what's crucial and important, and as long as it's helpful and interesting, I mean, that's the goal. But also, like with history, I'm struggling because I'd like to find a better way than just showing a random aquarium while I talk, to go over some of these things. Like a lot of these fish, like I want to talk about some of the first women who were in the field of fish keeping. There's an amazing history there of women keeping fish and making amazing strides for the hobby. And starts with Jean Le Preux Power in France, and at the big aquarium expos in England, Germany, and Paris. But I'd like to tell the stories that aren't out there, that when you search for them, you don't hear them. There's kind of a set narrative. I've seen a lot of other people lately starting to get into fish history or aquarium history, and they have the Wikipedia 2-paragraph narrative, and there's so much more of a story there, but there's just not photos. There's not video. Obviously, it's 1800s, and even at the turn of the century, they didn't bring gear to document their expeditions into the Amazon rainforest, for instance, in 1910, and stuff like that is Um, I'm just trying to think how to present that information. I mean, until I come up with something better, it'll just be I'll pick a peaceful tank, and the video can also be used as you can mute me and watch the peaceful tank as a background, or use it as a green screen. Whatever. Let's see here. Thank you so much, Jen. Yu. Here's to women keeping fish. Yeah, right at you. Cheers. It looks like I've been chugging a whole thing of soda, but really it's just the bottom. Gross. It's not even carbonated anymore. I'm an animal basically. Okay. Um, Petraman, what's going on, buddy? And then a name I don't recognize. What was it? SCS Customs? Was that it? When I stocked Kitchen Wall Aquarium, I took it slow. It's still not fully stocked, but it's a wall in the kitchen. It moves 1,200 gallons per hour. Nice. That is awesome, man. Or woman. John Candy. Do I look like Uncle Buck right about now? Um, so yeah, I got my liter of cola. That's right. Cop car ramrod. So when speaking about, let me get up. When speaking about aquariums and 50 gallons, 40 to 55, I'm saying that because those are the two basic sizes. This here is a 46, weird size, but that's how many gallons are in the circle with the filter and pipes and everything. Third Coast, hello, how's it going? Um, and as you know, I've done the thing that I said where I'm keeping fish that are mostly smaller, and I'm thinking, I want to do something specialized for the channel, maybe. And maybe Tanganyikan fish is just, maybe that's been done a lot. Maybe that's not as exciting. Maybe I should do a biotope that's black water, or, sand sifters, earth eaters, something like that. The other thing that I've really thought about pretty hard, I do love the Central African cichlids, these, these little albino cribs, but the Nanochromis and the various Nanocara, and there's a whole bunch of them that are in the. If they have chromis in the name, they're probably in that group. And so I've thought about that too. But what my wife would really like, and obviously I'm not going to get any giant blue gouramis or anything, but she would like a gourami tank, and we were thinking about the idea of actually planting. Rice needs to be drained and then refilled, and drained and refilled, so forth. So I'm trying to think of something that would kind of mimic that, or maybe I'd just keep, maybe it's pointless to harvest rice, but maybe it would be cool to just have rice plants growing literally like a rice paddy, and leave like a watering can and some terracotta pots, like exactly what you'd find in like a flooded field in Vietnam or something like that, and do kind of a diorama slash aquascape of the rice field fish. Obviously, we couldn't do unfortunately, we can't do like the chana and the cat heads, or snake heads, or like the walking cats, and those are such a huge part of their aquatic or their biology and their ecosystem. But yeah, so that's one thing I've been thinking about, and another one would be about the doing like an oyster tank in a 40 or 55, where it's kind of estuary, half brackish water fish, and then living off the oyster shells. And if I did that, I would literally be keeping it outside, and that is part of the plan. Is I want to start keeping some native fish. There are some incredible native fish out there, especially when you get to mid-size. Like when you get to the 5 or 6 inch range, there's lots of sunfish and darters and shiners and dace and things like that that just have an incredible color to them when they're spawning. And if I could get, we definitely have plans to build a pond, but instead of doing koi, I mean, I think my wife and I know I would enjoy it too, but would like koi. But I'm almost tempted to hope for like a really fast moving tank with that has very few plants, but that is kind of gravel bed, like hill stream, that's cold water essentially, like a river in the Northwest. So that would be something for the pond, bigger than that. But they're all kind of out there in my mind, floating around. I've got a lot of ideas for tanks, and that's kind of if you guys have any questions in this today chatting, like please just toss them out there. But there's this is kind of my brainstorming and like thought I'd tell you some of my ideas for tanks kind of episode, I guess, for now. There's also the Pantanal is an interesting a very interesting little area that has kind of its own ecosystem. Yeah, I'm waiting until I get the new house for sure. The new house is, I mean, it just cleared. We put our down payment in, we got it appraised. It's in escrow. We get the keys as soon as the 12th, but we already were told that we weren't going to get it appraised and finished until the. See, I'd love to have more of these. There are about 14 Nanochromis species, and luckily the wet spot in Portland has access to a lot of them, and there are 8 of them in a region on the Congo and on the White Nile that are going to be dammed up, and they will no longer be in the wild. So there's another piece of me that says maybe I'll take the 40 gallon that I have and transfer them to that and keep it very planted, because there's a lot of plants in the slow running side streams and tributaries of the Congo. The Congo itself can be quite the raging, deep, big, huge river, but definitely something to think about there. One fishy dude, what's going on? Bruno, hello. Bluegills are pretty here in Texas, Third Coast Aquatics is saying. You catch some and send them my way? Right on. Yeah, we've got some pretty bluegills here too. It's amazing actually on that note, let's hop back to the computor and take a look at that, because bluegills, yeah, they have some of the most incredible markings that you'll find around just different bluegills from different little areas around the U.S. And I mean, we've got a lot of these. Like we call them like a lot of times pumpkin seed fish or just like little blue ears bluegills. But I mean, they come in so many different shape varieties, from like disc, like a perfect disc, to big guys, to like kind of bass looking, and perch body style more. But see, these ones aren't so colorful here, but definitely when they spawn, they get colorful. The other fish that people may not be familiar with is Jason Smith. Well, thank you. And Midnight Lobster, hello. And Broadcast Illusions, hello. The other fish that I'd love to keep and that I've seen kept is the stickleback, the 3-spine stickleback. And I've got those here. I can get at pretty much all the species. And when they're young, they're very cute. They're very... Hey, Larry D. And hello, Texas Fish. Good to see you guys. I just... as much as I want to do cichlids, yeah, I would have, Alishan, Anton Lamboj, I would have really liked to hear that talk. Where was that at? Was that, what club or where was that? Sheephead minnows, yeah, they're neat too. So are the fathead minnows. I mean, those are more things I'm thinking about keeping too. But you know, what's really cool and fascinating about sticklebacks, I've spent so many hours watching sticklebacks, and I'd love to show you guys what they do. I mean, like what they can do. This is the spawning color. This one's dead and dried out, but they can really, they can actually color up kind of nicely. And there's a lot of variety, all the way from completely transparent ones to very opaque armored ones with designs. And every single lake they're in, they vary. They're also a fish that can go from salt water to fresh water, and a lot of them choose to go to salt water, and then they'll find a stream. You know, there'll be a glaciation period. They'll find a lake and they'll head inland, and they'll stay there for 10,000 years, and then go back to sea, and then go down the coast, find the next river or whatever, and it's just amazing. If you look up evolution and sticklebacks, I mean, you can see here. I've done several videos on this, but the angle of their spikes and then the amount of their armor can change every generation. It can change as much as 20%. So like here is, I mean, in the Pacific Northwest, specifically, we have some of the fastest changing ones ever. Lake Washington did a great study, and look at the change in the fish. Side by side, a male of the same exact age, tank rays. I've done a video on this study, but and Lake Washington's about 2 miles from my new house. So what happened was the lake used to be muddy, so muddy you could not see probably even 3 or 4 inches. You couldn't see your hand in it. It was just filled with industrial waste and runoff and silt, and all the hillsides around the lake had been deforested, and it just rains a lot here, so there's runoff going into everything. And so basically, they started to look like this, which is basically clear. It didn't matter what they were made out of, and they had these spines that went sharp back, which basically it was designed after the fact that they're in something's mouth. These smaller fish, those would lodge in the throat of the fish, and then they'd cough them up and remember not to eat sticklebacks again. But as time went on, the bone, you can actually see, became armored plating, just like on a quarry. And if you guys recently saw that article that came out in National Geographic that I know a lot of people have been floating around, piranhas can't even chomp through quarry armor. It takes them an average of 10 times to get through quarry armor in order to eat them with piranha teeth. And what happened over time, see this, is stickleback would start not armored when they were in the murky water, and as water clarity cleared up, they went from having hardly any spine and just it being really sharply angled backwards, because that would get in like an eagle or hawk's mouth. If they picked them up and tried to eat them, it would lodge in their throat. Well, then they became armored so that if they got picked up by a hawk or whatever, the talons wouldn't hurt it. Same with if they got attacked by a bigger fish, they can get away. This is bone, I mean, or cartilage, at least a hard cartilage, and you can read about them. But I mean, some of them only have the 2 spikes, some of them have 3, and some of them have, you know, a whole array of the spikes. But it's pretty interesting. And I'd love to keep them, because I go watch them locally all the time. But yeah, here we go. Here's naked or no plating versus low plating, very low plating, fully armor plated, male and female, and that's the 3 spine stickleback there, which we have the 2 and the 3 are very common here in Lake Washington. But it happens. I mean, over 50 years, you see the complete shift of this to this. In say 25 or um, even 15 years, you also see a color change, whether they're red or pink or green or yellow or completely clear. A lot of them are translucent when they live in really clear water, whereas they get green when they're in water that's semi-translucent, with visibility in between those rates. So it's a really, they're just a super interesting fish. Let me show you one more thing. Stickleback female. Because when they spawn, what I'd love to do if I had that 50-gallon would be to get these, which they don't get much bigger than about this big right here. So you could actually have a decent school of them. But the females get a very interesting shape when they're really pregnant, or really full of eggs, I should say. And they almost look like a frying pan. Here we go. These are real common in our area. See this? So what happens is the male will size up that female, and a male will watch that particular female in his area, and they decorate the most ornate little nests. Let's see here if we can see. So like they'll pick a spot for a nest, and this is in a tank clearly, but what they'll do is they'll make a little area where they hang out, and they'll do a patrol of about I don't know, maybe a foot radius, and all in this area they'll either clear the sand away or they'll put the sand into rings. I've got a video where you can check out me showing that, and they actually set up really interesting. It's like a mound that with an indent, so it kind of looks like a little volcano. There's a nicely colored one, another nicely colored one. But you can see the females get quite a bit bigger than the males. But what happens is the males then they dig. One of the mating strategies that they have is they dig these trenches that are shaped kind of like a U. And the male will annoy the female to the point where, like guppies do, to where she wants to chase him. I'm trying to see if they've got a picture of a burrow. There's some spawning. But basically, he'll make a little trench or a little pathway, and he knows exactly how big she is with that belly. He can size her up by looking at her from a foot away for days and days and days. And finally, he picks his target. He fancies up the nest with twigs and debris and sand and stone and little shells. And I've seen Doritos bags getting moved, and just, I mean, like all sorts of pollution and trash I've seen them use. And then what he does is he runs through that. Man, I wish they had a good picture, but that's a good picture of the profile of why the females get stuck in the trap he sets. But basically, so he digs a little hole or makes a slot canyon type trap, runs through it. She follows him blindly out of rage or annoyance or whatever you want to call it. And then she gets wedged in, and he's already knows that he's smaller, but he's sized up exactly how she'll get stuck in there. So it tapers, she gets stuck, and then he starts doing this kind of thing, moving around her. Sometimes they actually even have a side tunnel. And then with all this debris here and sand, or, you know, this is if there's stone or gravel, he'll then get her to lay her eggs. He'll milt and fertilize those eggs, and they'll kind of settle in here. But sometimes this whole thing is done under sand, and so it's a U-shaped tunnel rather than in between two rocks. And then what he'll do is he'll pull leaves and dirt out so that the sand collapses on his little tunnel, and so those eggs are completely underground, and then he'll guard them like a cichlid. Like, here's one that's probably guarding a mound right there in a tank. So there's some really interesting strategies, and they change the strategies completely based on water conditions. So there's a lot of these native fish that they do need water that stays cold. I mean, it's going to need to stay 70 is going to be kind of the top number. They're not going to want to live in that long term. But yeah, so that's one idea that I had that I've really wanted to do. And I'll have lots of room to do outside tanks, so I might even set up a whole thing. But yeah, you can definitely toy with their genetics like guppies almost and create an entire strain of that. The other one that I'm really interested in is the darters for sure. Rah, hello. Bottom Dwellers Aquatics, hello. Geek Boy, Regina, hello. Laura 99, Leslie's Aquatics, Patty. Let's see here. Who else has popped in since I was last looking? Roland Ricky, right on. Yeah, so Tiffany, hello. So then the other one that I'm looking at is, let's see, the green darter. Or the mountaintop darter, I think it's called. But look at these fish. These are a native. And they're just not pay no attention to the dragonflies behind the curtain, folks. But these green darters are native to well, all over the U.S. But the really phenomenal ones, like a candy cane darter or candy darter, whatever you want to call it. These ones are more like Ohio and Kentucky and Alabama, and then over to Missouri and the Ozarks kind of. But like these greenside darters, they get a little bigger. They get 8 inches, but I mean, look how pretty those. That's not color enhanced or anything. They're just that pretty. The problem is that light scatters and refracts green and blue so badly. At any depth that you'd want a tank with a lot of this kind of yellow stone and very clean water. And the outdoor light probably wouldn't do any favors for being able to see this because it causes this effect where it looks kind of muted. But indoors or against a dark surface, where they've been living on a light surface. I know that's complicated. But if they've been living on the light surface, they'll have colored up like this, to match it. But they are just a really cool fish. And some of them don't get more than 2 or 3 inches, some darters. But the green ones have just caught my eye because there aren't that many fish that are just like, lime green, just like, or like that. I mean, geez, look how green that is. And there are so many incredible fish out there. This is who I may actually buy through. I may talk to them a little bit, but Jonah's Fish, they've got all sorts of pond fish and things, but these are all the darters that they carry. A lot of these aren't showing up as there's the fathead minnow. They're funny. They've just got that big fat head. The males do, anyways. Look like a beluga or something. Flagfish. I mean, obviously that's a flaring picture, but so there's some natives that are available even to buy, but I'd like to catch them. I'd like to come down to Florida, in New Orleans and stuff like that, and actually come catch some of these. Also we've got rainbow shiners, and things like that, bluefin killies, least killifish, all that kind of thing. Those are all, perfectly cool ideas for the tank too. But then it would allow me to have more outside. Super Cartridge Kid, how's it going, buddy? Haven't seen you in a while. Green fish are some of my favorites. Don't forget to like the live stream. Thanks. What's going on? Gavin, hello. And George Costanza, good to see you again. Aquaculture Story, yeah, they do. Yivo, hello. Purple Purple is also an interesting fish color. Love purple fish. Yeah, rainbow darters are awesome. I had those for a while. Darters and shiners are really fun. Rainbow shiners are another um, rainbow fish. Rainbow fish, that's not helping. Rainbow shiner. The blue shiner and the some of the, I mean, these guys are just nothing compares to the boldness of these live on the Cahaba River in Alabama. Is one of their outside of Birmingham is one of their main places. When they're not spawning, they're kind of more like this, but when they're spawning, literally they'll collect like salmon, even though they're only 2 inches long, in the river like that. And they also kind of vary over to this spectrum of the blue and purple too, and the black and red. And it's just because these fish can actually live in a heated tank with other fish. Now they're not going to want to live in a tropical tank. They won't live their full life. They'll probably live about a season. But what you could do is you could definitely get away with putting those fish with Celestial Pearl Danios or, oh, there's my video right there. 7 new fish coming to the hobby. That's when I went down to Florida and was talking with them about the fish that were in the hobby. The funny part about that is, I mean, it makes sense, but when I made that video about fish coming to the hobby about, I guess that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Well, by the next year and this last year, all these fish that I featured, you were able to get through Seagrass, which is kind of cool that in that short a time it came to fruition from what they were saying. So as far as other medium-sized fish that I've thought about too, I mean, the other one that I've thought about is getting something that's a little more predatory, just because they're so intelligent. But you know, I like puffer fish a lot. Obviously, I don't know why I said obviously. Whoops, stop. No. But another interesting one would be getting one of the little avocado puffers. They don't have all the cool markings and things, but I hear they're a really interesting one. Oh, there's Vahaka puffers. Green spotted puffers would be another one I could do. These ones, or figure eights, show denti. Definitely am not going to attempt anything like this. You really need money, big time money for that. But some of the freshwater ones, the other puffers, it's funny, I search specifically for avocado puffer and I get a million other kinds too. These ones freak me out. I don't know about you guys, but those ones freak me out. Also, I suppose we could do another tank. I know I miss them. I had them for a while, but I miss my pea puffers. My tank of Betta fry, pea puffers, and what else was in there? Betta fry, pea puffers, and rainbow peacock gudgeons. That was a really fun tank. That was a really great one. The other one is, you know, there's a lot of really pretty Jack Dempseys and things like that that have come out recently. But the other thing that I've always wanted, I've never kept one of these, is the Geophagus, the Earth Eaters and things like that, out of Suriname and Guyana, French Guiana. But they're just beautiful. I have experience keeping peacock gudgeons with Amano shrimp. They kind of spar. So, you know, that's okay. Let's talk about that a little bit, because this kind of brings up an interesting point about about fish in general. And that is, if we're talking about a bigger tank, we can talk about, sorry, my nose is plugged. You can talk about the layers. So actually, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just wandering back and forth, back and forth. But when you've got a tank that's tall like this one's over 2 feet tall. This bow front, it's a real weird one. But it's allowed me with this stick in it. It's allowed me to, when I had pea puffers in there, they would assemble at way different heights, and so they'd stay out of the way of all the community fish. And they kind of just had a hierarchy amongst themselves that was the issue of the day every day. And you can get away with putting more aggressive fish in a tank when you do something like this, or a big rock outcropping, or a shelf layer. You can then have your school, which I think is really important. So even if I got a big fish, like a big puffer of some sort, or a medium-sized puffer, I should say, for a 55 or something like that, I would want, a school of, I don't know, X, Y, or Z. I want to show you guys what I was going to give you guys a sneak peek of last time, but there wasn't enough light. Hopefully there's enough light tonight. But what I was saying is, so under this whole tarp here, we've got, we've got tanks. So there's a 40, 55, and some 10s and 20s for the new house. So, and a bunch of empty boxes. But though the 55 actually spanned, it was wider than my truck because of the wheel well. So I had to put it in at an angle. But that's a pretty good size. It's like a 4-foot tank basically. But it's so skinny, it's not deep, but it's got a good view for schooling fish at that size at a 55. Hello, honey, you can come by. Say hi.
Hello. I did.
You waved hi. Are you going somewhere?
For a cold walk.
A cold walk? Yeah, it fogged up my lens. Chevy Fish and a few other folks say hi, Lara.
Hello.
Hello. She's
Come help us move.
Come help us move. Yeah, if there's anybody who lives around here, actually, I do need to figure out somebody to give me a hand with lifting some of these tanks. All jokes aside. Serious note, yeah. None of my friends are into fish, and I feel like I need we need a union of, I'll owe you one. But like for this tank to move, I'm so stressed about this one. But like I was saying, the other thing that would be cool in the big tank, you could do like look how yellow she is now that she's happy. This Episto, she was so brown and muted. And all the little cyprinids have come out to play, which is nice. But yeah, so looking at a bigger tank again though, another one, obviously angels or discus are a natural choice, but when I get a big tank, there's something majestic too about a bigger fish that has fins that are, out there. This boy here is always beautiful to watch swim with those big long fins. I love watching that one. But with the 55, it is set up so that for stocking, really it's a big window, and so you could put a whole bunch of schooling fish like Tinwinny Danios or something like that. I don't have anything bigger with stuff in it than a 40, which is nice right now. Really happy about that. Um, Atkins Nature Aquarium, you're headed to Bellingham, huh? Nice. I love it up in Bellingham. I lived there for a long time. I really liked it. But yeah, I mean, you can see here too the Danios, the lake inlay species. I could do a big lake inlay Danio species, and get like they're not that expensive and they're easy to spawn. But in a 55, what if I did like these beautiful Shanensis or inlay Danios? If we did say like 60 of them in a 55, you know, it could be pretty cool. And then had CPDs and other stuff in a rice paddy, like I was saying. So, yeah, the suction cups, that is definitely what I'm going to go get from Harbor Freight, is the suction cups. Do it that way, for sure. But also the barbs from Central Africa, yet again, when they swim back in, they'll come back into the picture. There they are. So those striped barbs with the 12 stripes, those are another one that I think would be fun watching swim in the 55 in numbers. But they're really expensive, and so I'd probably spawn them out in the house first. Here's the Hikari Danios, too. There's another Shanensis drainage resident that we could use. And I guess, you know, the other big option that I haven't even touched on yet is the whole idea of doing a rainbow tank at a 55. It's kind of the perfect size to start doing rainbow. Now, they take a long time to really, what do you want to call it? Hit their max potential, I suppose. They take some time to color up and to get their shape and everything. But once they do, boy, are they beautiful fish to watch them swim and do their thing. And they produce a lot of babies in that. The other fish that I worked on, or that I will be working on more, is these guys. Trying to get these guys to spawn, the long fins. Nobody's spawning them in the U.S. Jason at redfishbluefish.shop is the only person I know, period, who even has them. And then, these Somfongzi rasboras that I always have loved, with the orange on the males and then the teal on the females. That's another one that could go in the lake inlay tank. And then this Potamogeton gayi, this plant is all over there. There's some rotalas that you can find there, and then just all the crypts you could ever want, and Bucephalandra are found in that natural area, as well as moss. Look at this little banshee, the Episto banshee. She's kind of lost her bright color, but she's starting to lose those vertical stripes and getting her, or her horizontal stripes, I should say, and getting her vertical ones. So she's becoming a lady, and all the shrimp just kind of sit back and wait for what their fate is. This tank here is not fully lake inlay by any means, but it has some of the Sabwa splendens in it. So, and it also has the Shan, or what are they called? Not Mandalay, but always space on their name. They have stripes and dots on them, but they look very similar to a lot of different. Their Latin name is Escope, Daniel, and they're a fun little one. So yeah, and then I moved the cories into this filterless tank to see how they do because their long dorsal fins had gotten bent over living in the other tank, and so I thought, you know what, I'll give them a chance in here and see how that goes, and it seems to be going really well. That's a great idea, Karma. The jewel cichlids, turcanas, really pretty with convict cichlids. That's another great option. Um, let's see. Atkins says, I was also went to Redfish Bluefish and the co-op yesterday. Didn't text because I was a bit sudden notice. No worries, man. But yeah, sometime let me know and we can get together. Hey, what's up, Kevin? Welcome, dude. Cal Barton. Rasbora Daniels? No, I've got Rummy Nose Rasboras and then Danios in here. So there's leopard Danios and zebra Danios. And then there's Corys. I know it's a weird mix right now, but the Corys are growing their big old fins back, starting to get their color back. They didn't like the community tank upstairs. There were two other types of Corys with them, and they just didn't like that. Now the Pandagaras, these are also found in the mountainous drainages of Southeast Asia as well. See, check out the dorsals on this guy when he comes back around. He's coming back around again. Come back around again, buddy. The males get really long ones. There's one back there. See, check that out. But they still get around just fine, and that's what's key to me. I think it's mean otherwise. Yeah. And these ones just get to eat as many shrimp as they want. They lucked out. That's their lucky little home meal. But yeah, so I mean, let me know in the comments what you think, what you'd like to see in a tank. I mean, I got all these planted tanks. This is one of the first ones where I'm really resisting the urge to plant the heck out of it. And I know you may think, what are you talking about? That's more planted than I plant my tanks, for most people. But I'm actually going to be thinning out all this Rotala. It's just to get a background wall kind of going, and it was to suck out the nitrates. Once all this stuff fully carpets, then the goal will be to kind of remove any of the taller stuff and have the rocks be the focus and just have that carpet in there. That's the goal. And to spawn these Panduro Apistos. Whether they'll spawn in here, I don't know. You've seen my battle with algae in here too, and right now it's doing really good. Or I should say the fish are doing really well. Fish and snails are just doing a good job of cleaning it up, and then just water changes and a little bit of manual trimming and stuff. But for the most part, they're just doing their own thing. And then another thing is, in the new place, I'll probably be bringing this setup and keeping it as its own thing. I might even repeat this little breeder thing, get 3 more of these so that we can breed more shrimp and fish in here and then heat the room. But in here, just to check on them, we've got the green shrimp from Aquatic Arts, and there's so much life in here that I'm like dying to get some more fish fry living in here and eating the debris and the mulm that's in here for them. I mean, it's pretty epic the diet they could have of live little seed shrimp and copepods and stuff all over the glass. Over here we've also got the Badis, so and then the shrimp. So I mean, this is kind of the formula that I think we'll repeat on more of these tanks, which is to do more of those. There's the scarlet Badis right there. He doesn't look so colorful, but he's very, very colorful with 2 females in there. And again, I don't need to feed these guys. Between the shrimp and the whatever is growing in here, He sees himself and he hates himself. So sad. That's what they eat. So, yeah. Rico Stan, what's going on? But yeah, so he's doing that. The females, I don't see them right now, but I'd like to get more species of them going. But I mean, can you imagine doing like a 50-gallon with, or a 55, I'd say, with all the little fish? It'd be pretty crazy. But again, Lake Inlay, here's, the panda loaches. Really like them. They are really pretty and cool. If I were to do a Pantanal tank, the Pantanal is kind of a unique habitat, and it has a lot of a lot of the Cabamba furcata. It has a lot of Ludwigia Pantanal, go figure, and a lot of Hygrophilas, I think Coriumbosa, and then it also has Hygrophila polysperma sunset or sunrise. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Did this, you silly Betta? So this Betta has a mate that it was courting, if I can find her, and it keeps jumping into here. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Duders. And this guy, I don't know what he's doing, hanging out right underneath the filter. That's kind of odd. Always makes me worry when fish are hanging out in some spot you never see them normally hanging out in. But where is everything's fine. Nothing to see here, folks. Just loud noises. Me ruining my fish's lives and stressing them out. No, just plecos. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not going to search all over for a betta, but I have a pretty yellow betta. It's like neon yellow, living in here, and I think they'll make a lovely couple. But this guy jumped in here, and the problem with that is that if you can see them on the bottom there, there's actually golden-eyed cichlid fry in here. And I know that's why he jumped in here, to eat them. So, troublemaker. And I've moved him out of here several times, but he just hops back in. Labyrinth fish. They're a headache sometimes. They're too smart for their own good. But yeah, okay, what else was I going to say about... Oh yeah, it'd be fun to get on the 55 to put these Rhamnocentris in there, though. Get a big old school of these. With the red and the silver. And they get about 3 inches long or so. But I could do those with a whole bunch of pseudomagills and something like that. And do kind of an Australian thing and maybe get some gudgeons. And then even with them, actually, you probably could do a bunch of gobies on rocks, because they do live in Papua New Guinea in the same environment. You are who I've been trying to catch, Mr. Erythromicron. I've been hunting him like a ghost in the darkness for days. And he just gets away every single time. I'm sure I won't catch him now, but I figure I'd try a slow and steady approach, see if we get anywhere. The other interesting little turn of fate that's going on in this tank is there's supposed to be only gobies are only supposed to be able to spawn with salt water. However, there are 2 gobies in here that are far smaller than I recall. I'm probably just wrong. It's probably just I'm misremembering. I moved one of them to the other tank, actually. I'm probably just misremembering. But Where are they? They're the cobalt blue ones. You can see most of them are like this big here. And they just munch on the algae all day. But the little cobalt ones are like an inch, I mean, maybe a little over an inch. Not even an inch and a half. And, oh, I see it. It's up there. Up in the Rotala Ramosior. Let's see here. Come on. And, I don't know where they came from, but I feel like they're a good inch shorter than the other ones. That's it. The full thing right there. It's shorter than a full-grown erythromicron compared to these guys here, which is probably the length of 2. So I don't think they spawned. I mean, that's not supposed to be possible, but maybe 2 survived. I don't know. I doubt it, but it's just odd things in the tank. I always leave me guessing, second guessing, triple guessing. And then this tank, you know, as much as I like the cichlids, and it's fun to watch them care for their young and all that jazz, they just hide all day. There's not really much going down, even in a 10 where they have, like, you'd think they'd have nowhere to hide. Nowhere to run to, baby. Nowhere to hide now, baby. But they do. They have somewhere to run to, and they have somewhere to hide to, I guess. Where the heck are they? Like, I seriously don't even see one. Oh, there's a baby. We've got a baby right in here. That's it. It went back in the bush. So, maybe are they in their huts? They don't seem to like their huts either. Nothing I made for them is good enough. Maybe they're back in the corner. Well, the male is. Male's back in the corner. Oh, there's babies too. Whoa, they're making a mess back there. Looks like they got lots of poop and food hiding back there. Well, that's something, I guess. But, yeah, so we got some babies. Let's see if we can scare them back towards the center. There they go again. So we got babies, I guess. But other than that, the adults are real shy. I don't know where they even are. There's 5 in here, and I never see them ever. So, I mean, I'm at the point where I'm like, did they jump out? And then I'll see like 3 swim out darting from somewhere. But there's not even like hiding spots in here for them. So that's the problem with some of those nesting cichlids, is you really don't see them. Whereas if you lay it out right, I just wanted to show again in this tank, I'm really happy with how social the celestial pearl danios are. They're right out front and center with the erythromicrons. Everybody's just chilling, doing their thing, dancing in the moonlight. So yeah. Alright guys, well, I think I'm gonna call it a night. Not so many questions. Whoa, hold on. Look at the size of this dude or dudette. Keeps laying massive nests for me. But you know, tonight I just wanted to come on, say hey. We need to have a topic to discuss. Maybe I'll put a poll and we can decide what we want to talk about next time. I'd like have a lot of people drop me questions, and I think I decided I've had pea puffers with Badis. They're okay as long as you have a colony of each and lots of hiding spots and some height for them to like the height of a 20 tall, for instance, of a normal 20 would work fine. As long as you get a branch or something that goes diagonally across the whole thing, or a rock slope in one side, that will totally break up the aggression enough. So, well, thank you so much, lurkers. chat members, channel members, friends, felons, foes, felines, fish, all of y'all. Thanks for joining, and I hope you guys have a really good night. And mods, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Chevy and Muppet and Rigel and Fake Name, all y'all. Chevy and Muppet and Rigel and Fake Name, you know, you guys are always on it. So I appreciate that. I hope you guys have, yes, countrymen, have a great night, and yeah, we'll talk more soon. I'll probably have, oh wow, my sparkling gourami is, sorry, colored up for spawning, and not this one. That's the female. Let me see if we can get the male to come back out of the bushes. Just incredible color right now. When they color up, boy howdy, they color up. Come on. Come on. I probably stressed it enough right now that it's not going to be that colorful. Nope. It's losing its color. But, man, it was glowing like a freaking jewel, a neon light, when it was trying to show off for the female. It's got that red and all the purple and the lace work in its tail. You can kind of see it a little bit better here. And that blue eye is just so blue. Let's see, can we get it to come out in the open? They actually make that blue eye even more blue than the females do. Any case, all right, guys, thank you so much. I hope you have a great night, and I'll talk to you guys for sure on Saturday, and probably I'll have that new native nano fish video coming out sometime this week, I hope. So I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for joining me. As always, thank you so much, super chatters, members, lurkers alike. All right, take care, guys. Bye.